Life is just an incredibly beautiful, wonderful, spectacular, phenomenal, precious gift. Not just our life, but the life of everything around us. And I'm here at the scene of a crime that I committed earlier today, much earlier. It's getting dark. The day is coming to an end. I cut down this yellow birch early this morning for a reason. First of all, there's no shortage of yellow birches in my forest. They're almost like a weed in this part of the world. But it makes just fantastic firewood, so it won't go to waste. I cut that tree to help this wonderful tupelo. And the tupelos are just making a foothold in the forest here. There are a couple of very large ones off to the west. And their children are coming up in the forest. Very few and far in between. And this is a beautiful example of one right here. And it was being choked here in the midst of so many common trees here in the Long Point Basin, like swamp maple. This is just thick with swamp maples. Far behind there is a beautiful big sassafras, also making children that I'm helping as well. So, why am I talking about all of this? Because I got such a feeling today over and over again as I was tending to various trees all throughout the forest and even around the house in my evergreen garden, especially in the evergreen garden, that triggered me to make this video. The beautiful feeling of the joy, the overwhelming joy. I felt such, I can't even tell you. There's no word for it. Just the overwhelming vitality. The privilege of being alive. Here come the Canada geese to the vernal pools. You wouldn't be able to hear it, but there are thousands of frogs just going wild in the vernal pools right now. Luckily, we're far enough away that you can hear me clearly without being drowned out by all those frogs. At any rate, I digress. That feeling, that incredible, powerful surge of vitality that I felt in the evergreen garden summarized something in a visceral way, which is actually what I wanted to talk to you about. I'm coming to it without even trying, which is good because I would have drifted away. So before I continue drifting away, that visceral knowledge is the key to enjoying life in all of its richness, in all of the varying extremes of experience. And when we can take that visceral knowledge and incorporate it, into your corpus. And that is the key. My goodness, this just hit me right now as I said that word. Incorporate. Yes, that's the key. To be able to incorporate something. It's a common thing that I find with so many people who I know, who turn to me occasionally in their time of difficulty. And there are these fleeting moments when something hits us, a piece of knowledge or something shared, and when it's by words, it will never last. It will never last. You may have experienced this yourself, where you hear something, it may have even been from me. I would feel incredibly fortunate to have provided you with something like that with my countless Zen videos and all the rest of that stuff, which this is one of. And it's like in that moment you feel liberated and it's like, oh, I get it. And then 10 minutes later, it's gone. And you may not even remember what it was at all. 10 minutes later, never mind 10 days, weeks, years later. And that's why. It's because thoughts are a frog that you can't hear. In that chorus of millions of frogs over there just making a racket, a din of insanity. I love it because it really does sound like an insane asylum. It makes me laugh. And earlier I was meditating in their presence and just doing my sort of hum where I'm utilizing the flow within the mouth and breathing through the nose with the mouth closed. And just letting it go and go. And feeling that energy recirculating. It's beautiful. And I was doing that in the presence of the frogs and they seemed to love it. Anyways, and there you have it. That is what turns a moment from a fleeting thought to an eternal feeling, a visceral knowledge, a visceral experience incorporated into your being, changing you, not with a silly thought, not with a passing fancy, but with an experience that changes you at the cellular level and gives you lasting peace. Like the experience I had in the evergreen garden, just pruning with my fingers. I've made videos about bonsai. They may or may not still exist, so I may be pointing at nothing if there's nothing to link to. I've been clearing away videos. I often do. And I've got something to say about that in a few minutes. That visceral knowledge, that experience that is incorporated, that's the key to opening the pathway to rejuvenating your sensitivity to energy. And although I had to cut down this yellow birch to help that tupelo, I don't regret it, because, as I said earlier, this is a very common tree in the forest. There's probably 100 of them that you could count if I spun the camera around and if we had enough light. I'm probably in sheer darkness right now. That's okay, I'm almost done. I just wanted to say that at that moment when I did decide to take down this tree, I spoke to it, and I spoke to the tupelo, and I shared energy with them. And that may seem preposterous to you. And that's just because your energy sensitivity has been atrophied. And these experiences, this visceral knowledge incorporated, is the pathway to rehabilitate, to renew, to restore that lost energy sensitivity. Not just the sensitivity to the energy of trees, but even that of other humans as well. I have much to say on that topic. And on that note, one last thing I want to say about talking to the trees before I quit. When I talk to the trees, addressing them, speaking to them, and saying, I'm sorry, but I have to cut you down. You've got plenty of siblings right here, and they'll keep you alive with their roots. And you can send up new children. And I will come back here next year, and we can see the new child that will be growing here. And the good news is that this tree will continue. It's the same tree. It got a pretty severe haircut from me, that's all. It will continue to grow, the very same tree, except now it will be far behind the tupelo. And the tupelo will be making a canopy, and this yellow birch will be able to fight its way to make its own. This is a very aggressive tree. This is possibly the most aggressive, hostile tree species that grows here in southern Ontario. That's a very hostile tree. Don't worry, it will make a comeback. So as I spoke to these trees, and as I spoke to the tupelo, and I said, I need you to grow as quickly as possible. Make your place up there in the canopy before this yellow birch comes back. The trees feel my energy, I feel their energy. And it is a life energy that gives me life. Makes life feel so wonderful. And when we address a living being as a living being, we gain respect. We gain visceral knowledge incorporated. And it makes life feel even better. Consider that. Now, if you're still here, I'm very glad to hear it. And I have a question for you. Since you're still here, you obviously got something from this video and it resonated with you. Well, I need to hear from you. I need to know that someone is actually watching these videos right to the end and actually wanting to hear what I'm sharing. Because the simple fact is, I'm getting tired of making videos. I don't get anything for it. And lately with my chestnut videos, I've been getting a lot of grief and negative energy from negative people. And that's not what I'm about. And I'm certainly not going to go through the hassle and wasting my time making these videos just to get negative energy from negative people. So I need some positive energy from positive people to let me know that you want me to keep making these videos. Otherwise, I'm afraid this ship is about to sail. Or perhaps that airplane that you're hearing right now is about to take off into the darkness.